Eye-opening revelations. In this video, we're going to unveil truths that many have chosen to overlook. What we're about to share goes beyond conventional faith. It's a perspective that'll shake even the staunchest skeptics. Discover the 4 unexpected signs of Christ's second coming that are unfolding right now. And here's the most astonishing part. What you're about to learn could utterly transform your worldview. In a matter of seconds, stay with us and unravel the mystery. The book I'm discussing is unique. Unlike any other history book you'll find in public libraries, the Bible's narrative spans from the creation of the earth to the end of the world, covering a spectrum of events unprecedented in historical literature. This is partly because no one was there at the beginning to witness and document, making it impossible to authoritatively write about the onset of our world. Yet we stand as the sole bearers of knowledge on how it all will end. And that's extraordinary. The Lord didn't reveal the future to his followers just to satisfy their curiosity. It was to prepare them for what's to come, so they're not caught off guard by his return and don't misinterpret the signs. We should be grateful that Jesus shared with us what lies ahead in our future. People often wonder if we're living in the end times, but the Bible speaks of the last days, and we have been living in these days for 2,000 years. The last days began at Pentecost, where the first prophecy of the end times was fulfilled. Every Christian generation should live in readiness for the Lord's return. The Bible is a book brimming with predictions, featuring 735 of them spread across a quarter of its chapters. Out of all these prophecies, 596 have already occurred and were fulfilled literally, as per the scriptures. This means that 81% of biblical prophecies have come to pass, with some predicted centuries before they happened. It doesn't take much faith to believe that the remaining 19% will also come true. The Bible has proven itself accurate in every prediction that could have been fulfilled up to this point. Most of the remaining prophecies pertain to the return of Jesus and the subsequent events. How many of these prophecies remain to be fulfilled before Jesus' return? The answer is around 20, and we're closely watching for these to unfold before we anticipate the Lord's return. Jesus told us to watch and pray. But what exactly should we watch for? We can't just stand idle, gazing at the clouds, waiting for his appearance. He meant for us to be alert to the world's happenings and recognize the signs he has given us to prepare ourselves. These signs are the prophecies. So let's delve into Matthew chapter 24, where the disciples asked Jesus about the signs of his coming. Faced with this query, Jesus provided a direct and unequivocal answer for which we can thank God for its clarity. In the book of Revelation, he offers a more detailed and comprehensive response, but here he summarizes the signs that will precede his arrival. The disciples approached Jesus privately while he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, Matthew 24:3-36. They asked, "Tell us, when will these things happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Jesus replied, "Don't let anyone mislead you. Many will come in my name, claiming to be the Messiah, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but don't be frightened. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't come right away. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, but all this is only the first of the birth pains. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You will be hated all over the world because you are my followers. Many will turn away from the faith and betray and hate each other. Many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this good news of the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it. And then the end will come. The day will come when you will see what Daniel the prophet spoke about, the sacrilegious object that causes desolation standing in the holy place. Reader, pay attention. Then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. A person on the rooftop must not go down to get anything out of the house. A person in the field must not go back even to get a coat. How dreadful it will be for pregnant women and for nursing mothers in those days. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath, for there will be greater anguish than at any time since the world began, and it will never be so great again. In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. But that time will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. So, if anyone tells you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "There he is," don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will arise, performing great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. See, I have told you beforehand. So if anyone tells you, "Look, the Messiah is in the desert," don't bother going out there. Or, "Look, he's hiding here," don't believe it. For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Just as the presence of vultures indicates a corpse nearby, these signs indicate that the end is near. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Then, at last, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and there will be great mourning among all the peoples of the earth. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the ends of the earth to the heavens. Now learn the lesson of the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Likewise, when you see all these things happening, know that his return is very near, right at the door. Truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. However, no one knows the day or hour when these things will happen, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Now in this passage, he gave 4 distinct signs of his coming. So what exactly are these 4 signs that he has given us? The first sign is clearly disasters in the world in various forms, like wars, famines, and earthquakes. These events are certainly happening, but they have been occurring for over 2,000 years. They are intensifying, so we are definitely living in this first sign. Wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, and famines are already happening. Jesus says not to be deceived, and he repeats this constantly. As we approach the end, the danger is deception, both inside and outside the church. In this instance, he refers to false Christs, false messiahs, individuals who exploit the chaos of natural disasters to present themselves as saviors. There are well-known examples of people who pretend to be saviors and lead others to desert places, ending in tragedies. However, many false Christs, false saviors, claim to be the promised liberator from all our troubles. The more problems there are, the more false liberators will appear. But as Jesus advises us, we should not be alarmed or worried when we hear of a new war, a new tragedy, or a new famine emerging. He said something remarkable. These are painful events, but they are not death throes, they are birth pains. So, when you read about disasters in the media, these are the pains that mean something new is about to be born. This should completely change our attitude. We know where the world is heading. We shouldn't be alarmed or dismayed, nor as worried as the world will be about these things. The disasters in the world are the birth pains of a new world that is about to be born. Therefore, we are quite different. We have sympathy for those suffering from disasters, and hopefully we express this and help. But in our hearts, we are not alarmed, we are hopeful. We are looking forward to the birth of a new world, and so we are not discouraged or depressed by all the troubles in the world. In summary, Jesus' advice to us would be not to panic, not to be disturbed, but even to rejoice and say that these are all signs of something new happening. The second sign of his coming is not in the world, but in the church. Disasters in the world are the first sign. The church, not the world, is the second sign of his coming. The first warning is disasters around the world. The second is changes in the church. Just as he divided the first sign into three parts, wars, earthquakes, and famines, he also divides the second sign into three parts, all occurring within the church. The first is persecution. We will be hated in all nations. The second aspect of this sign would be a significant reduction in the size of the church. The love of many will grow cold as the entire church is under strain. Many nominal Christians, if not all true Christians, will leave under the burdens of universal persecution. Their love will cool. This is a very depressing sign. The big surprise in the third part of the sign is that the gospel will be preached to all racial groups. The third part of the sign is that the gospel will be proclaimed. A smaller, purified church will have a greater impact on the planet. This is precisely what Jesus is implying. False prophets can be a major source of deception in all of this. We are aware of the teachings of false prophets. When there is no peace, they preach peace. Instead of being a source of challenge, their message is one of comfort. They say, "It's all fine. This won't happen." Now, Jesus' counsel is to continue, not to give in to these false prophets. Those who endure to the end will be saved. When this sign occurs, when all aspects of the church are scorned by the world, that is Jesus' advice to all Christians. Why should it be this way? The answer is that the wheat and the tares grow together, and as they approach full maturity, the tension between them increases. Therefore, it's natural for Christians to be under a lot of pressure at the end. Christians are social misfits, hence there will be hatred. The world is not our home. Our citizenship is in the heavenly realms. We are unique, and it's because of our uniqueness that hatred can arise. Just as Jesus was so different from everyone else, he attracted hatred towards himself. John 15:19 says, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you." It's not pleasant to be scorned. This leads us to the third sign of the end times, which is the distress of Jerusalem. Geographically, it will be very limited. In this passage, Jesus refers to the prophecies of Daniel, and there's a character in Daniel's prophecies referred to as the abomination of desolation. Daniel mentions this 3 times. What does all this mean? What's the big deal? It concerns a human being, a man who establishes himself in the very city of God, declares himself God, and refuses to accept anyone else's will above his own. A tyrant whose arrival will have global ramifications, but who will be centered in Jerusalem, the city of God, the holy place. Then Jesus says the fourth sign of his coming will occur immediately after this, and then we'll know when he's coming and be ready. When this sign appears, there will be no danger of false prophets or false messiahs. There will be no deception. It will be very quick. What will happen is that all natural light will be turned off. The sun will darken, the stars will fall. There are many predictions of this throughout the Bible. Isaiah says the heavens will be rolled up like a scroll. All the stars in the sky will be dissolved. The heavens will roll together like a scroll, and all their stars will fall as withered leaves from the vine, like shriveled figs from the fig tree. Natural light will disappear, leaving only artificial light to illuminate the earth. What's happening? What's going on? People might ask. This is it, Christians will exclaim. The sun, stars, and moon will stop shining right before this happens. God turns off the lights of heaven to prepare for the brilliance of the lightning that marks his return. Then he comes on the clouds, back to planet Earth, and we meet him. We don't meet in an earthly stadium. for there is none large enough to accommodate such a large crowd. We meet him in the air, and that will be enough. Isn't it a fantastic prospect? When you see all these things, know that he is at the doors about to enter, he says. Then Jesus makes a very simple statement about a fig tree, and this is where many Christians have gone astray. He says, "Learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its branches get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near." Jesus is telling us that when you notice all these events happening, you'll know we're there. Now, the analogy of the fig tree is not an allegory. It's a straightforward analogy based on everyday experiences, as Jesus often used in his teachings. When you see the fig tree doing this, it says summer is coming, and so it will be when you notice these 4 signs, you'll know that summer is near. Unfortunately, many people have interpreted this as an allegory. We've explored together some astonishing signs, but there's much more to uncover. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming revelations.